Hey everyone, welcome back to the broadcast. Today's going to be a special cast. Hopefully it won't be too long because today is my birthday. That's right, November 3rd, Election Day. What a day to have a birthday, right? It's kind of crazy, it's like you got all these things going on and then you're trying to celebrate your own birthday, but it's like everything's kind of overshadowed by where we are currently as a country, right? Today's cast, I guess, is going to be a little bit about what I've kind of collected from hearing a lot of people talk about the election, not specifically on the politics in general, but people's viewpoints from the perspective of what they think is best, right? And then I also wanted to talk about a little bit of minimalism and nostalgia that I've kind of had on my mind, I guess, lately, right? And how that's kind of influenced my life and my perspectives on how I should be living my life going forward. So let's start out with the election part, right? The big piece that everyone's interested in. So what I hear a lot and what I've been noticing and reading online, if you will, is a lot of people saying you should vote this way or you should vote that way for whatever reason, right? And I find that to be very limiting. Not from the perspective of limiting to me, but from the perspective of limiting to others. And I think that when people tell others what to do specifically, I think it comes from a place of ignorance, right? And the reason for that is multifaceted. And one of the biggest reasons is when you tell someone, vote for this candidate, right? That doesn't really come from a place of understanding or love. It comes from a place of, this is what I believe is right, and you need to listen to me because I know what's right. I can't trust that you can make up your mind to determine what is the best option for you. You either listen to me or you're wrong, right? That's not a place of love. That's why I find that people posting frequently, which are, vote for this person, vote for that person. I find it to be quite appalling. It's like you are working almost in a sense to take away someone's liberties, to take away their free thought, their free will, and impose a specific opinion and viewpoint on them. And it's a little confusing too, because from my perspective, I find it really tough to recommend just like pretty much anything to anyone, right? I find it easier to go over some of the facts, if people ask or they bring it up. I don't really like talking about politics because I believe it's more of a private decision that one should come to within their own mind and their own heart of what they believe in. Not saying that you shouldn't, broadcast why you like your favorite candidate. And so that's really the crux of it, right? You have two types of people online, generally three really, when it comes to politics. You have people who are more similar to me, who don't really say anything and don't really get involved, from a sense of, we generally take a step back and we say, okay, politics is politics, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to put my thoughts out in the world. Then you have other people and this is what I had the problem with, is they tell people how to vote. Vote this way, vote that way, do this, don't do that. And then you have other people that say, as the third, I guess, categorization, this is what I believe in, this is what I feel is right. I believe that these are the best laws. I believe that these are the best path forward. I believe that this is the best candidate, yada, yada, etc. And that's not so bad, right? And so I guess the difference really is saying what you believe in, putting that out in the world, saying, I believe in freedom, I believe in equality. As an example, I believe in human rights for all, right? Telling the world that's what you believe in, and I believe in it because I think that people deserve equality, right? Something to that nature. That's fine, that's great, and that's warranted. That's something that people should be doing, I believe. I don't do enough of that, right? Even though I generally try to stay towards the side, I think that expressing yourself in a way that's positive, where you're telling people what you believe in, that's a very, very good thing to do. But once you pass that line of telling people, vote this way, not telling people why you are doing something, that's when it becomes a problem. And we went over it a minute ago, but the crux of it really is you truly don't believe that people have the competency to understand that on their own. And that is sad. It's very sad that you have so little faith in society and with people in general that you relegate them to not being able to make up their mind to determine what is the best choice for them. And the unfortunate part is even those people that are trying to impose their will on others, who are trying to take away someone's freedom by forcing them or making them vote a certain way, this, that, or the other. The interesting part is when you actually look at the psychology of it, the worst way to get someone to join your cause, to back your side, is to tell them what to do. That's incredibly inefficient in every way you cut it when it comes to getting people to get on board with your idea of what's right. You don't tell people to do something if you want them to do it, right? You have to get them interested in the subject to begin with, and then you have to let them make that gap. They have to bridge the gap between interest and wanting more. And once they do that, then you say, if you want more, this is how you do it, right? This is really basic conversation. This is basic psychology. This is basic sociology and how people think and act, right? Telling people to do things is a quick way to get them to not do it. That's the problem. It's like, so you got all these people, which makes me think, do they even realize that they're actually driving a wedge between their goals, what they're trying to do, and what they're trying to achieve, and the people they're trying to reach out to? It almost makes me wonder how many sleeper agents are out there. I know this is kind of a conspiracy theory. It's kind of crazy, but like, how many people out there are really, thinking about playing for the other side of or the other team, and they're just trying to sow craziness to a certain degree. You have to fight this, and I've talked about this in other podcasts before, but fight the urge to just post something vapid and nebulous. You go out there. If you believe in something, if you see something, back it up with your own words. Put whatever you saw out, whatever post you're going to write about, whatever it is, put that in your own words. That's how you fight that, right? And you say, this is what I believe in. Like if it's a, go vote this way or that way post, okay, let's say you throw it down, but add a caveat to it that says, I'm voting for this candidate, and this is why, boom, boom, boom. That's how you clear that up. And what you're going to see, I think you're going to have people be a lot more receptive to your idea. You're going to have people become a lot more interested in what you have to say, because the last thing anyone wants to hear is what you're telling them to do. They want to make that conclusion on their own. They want to determine what's best for them. And if you're going to lead someone down a path, you have to do it by breadcrumbs. You have to do it by facts. You have to do it by logic. And you have to drop little nuggets. Throwing someone, and just opening the fire hose of stuff, that's not really effective. Most of the time, that's going to cause people to shut down and do exactly the opposite of what you want. So I guess my advice really in closing to this piece right here is, if you want someone to join your side, whatever side that is, you have to do it from a place of love. You have to do it from a place of empathy, and you have to do it from a place of understanding and reasoning. And you have to let people make up their mind on their own. If you want people to be interested in what you have to say, if you want people to join your cause, show them why it is the right thing. Don't tell them to join it. Don't tell them to believe in you. Show them why you believe in a certain cause, a certain group, a certain idea. Show them why it's important to you. And from there, that's how you're going to get people interested. That's how you're going to get people on board. And that's when you make the recommendation, the claim to say, hey, if this is something that interests you, if this is something you feel strongly about, if this is a new idea that you want to explore further, you can do it this way, that way, or the other way. So that's really it, Stop believing you're so pompous and better than everyone. You're not. Neither am I. I want to make that blatantly clear. We're all just humans. We all make mistakes constantly. If you're someone who thinks you don't make mistakes too often, you're probably someone who makes mistakes more than anyone else would like to admit. That's what I found, at least. But take a step back, come with a place of humility, and don't be afraid if people are unwilling to listen to you, even if that even if you take the other approach as well, the kinder approach that I just described, the more competent approach that I described, there's still going to be a lot of people that are not going to listen to you, and that's okay. Don't waste your energy fighting for the people that don't care about what you have to say. This is a very important piece, right? We all have energy and time to devote to everything in life, okay? And that's very limited. If you want to do something successfully, the best way to do that is to find the best use of your time. And so that means if you're trying to convince people that what you believe is the right way to go about things, try to target the people that are interested. Try to target the people that are listening to what you have to say. Going after those that don't care and are already locked down is just a waste of your time. Which is why I don't understand why people have these political fights. If you are going against someone who is so rooted in what they believe in, do you really think you're going to unroot them? Do you really think that, how much hubris do you have that you think you are so smart and so good that you're going to uplift someone and pull them out of what they've been living their entire life and drop them into something new? Do you think that's really going to happen? Think about that. That's crazy. You're not going to get people to listen to you like that. At best, you'll probably open their eyes to something new if you come from a place of humility. And that's okay. That's still a win. That's what you don't understand. Just because someone doesn't fully believe in what you have to say, allowing them to see new things, right? That's a win for you. Getting them to open their eyes, that's a win for you. Getting mad at people that still disagree with you, that's a waste of energy. That's energy you could be spent on perhaps opening their eyes to another topic, or perhaps getting someone on board that's willing to listen to what you have to say, okay? So, take a step back, shoot down your ego and hubris, stop believing you can change the world. Yeah, I get it. We were all told that when we were younger. The real answer is you can't to a certain degree. I mean, you can. Look, that's another conversation. Great discussion topic for a future video. But the point is, kill the ego, kill the hubris, do what you got to do to get people, but have humility when you try to bring them onto your side. Come from a place of love. Come from a place of understanding. Allow them to express themselves. Never shut them down, right? Everyone has a different viewpoint, and it's beautiful how we're all different in this world. That's what makes us the strongest. That's, in my personal opinion, what makes America the greatest country, is from our diversity. Everyone is so different, and it's so beautiful. We have to keep that, and we have to cherish that. Our strength comes from our differences. Okay, so if someone doesn't agree with you, if they don't believe you, give them the same respect, and perhaps what you might see is someone looking back and saying, wow, that person that was so vehemently against everything I believe in showed me a lot of respect, and I've never had that before. Maybe I'm going to be more receptive to listening to what they have to say and stop shutting myself off. And from there, you might learn something. Who knows? So we'll finish that topic out. Let's jump into something else more fun. It's my birthday, so we're going to jump back and forth as much as I decide to, right? So, minimalism, kind of cleaning up stuff, a little bit of nostalgia. It's a weird topic, right? But I have been doing my best recently to kind of go through some of the old stuff I had when I was a child, kind of throw it away, scale down what I needed, realizing that, like, you don't really need to carry all these things around with you. And I think there's a case that could be made to saying, hey, if you want to save all these things, it's important to do so, and you probably should. So maybe you could give them to your kids one day. And by things, I mean, like, let's say toys and books and materials that you used when you were younger, like crayons, pencils, little trinkets, knickknacks here and there. Just random shit you had when you were a kid. I have started throwing away all of that, and there's not much I possess that's left from when I was younger. And it's like, that has surprisingly been more liberating to me than anything else, because it's like, once it's out of your hands, there's nothing you can do with it, right? And I think it's an interesting perspective. I've said this to a few friends before. They have a thing in Sweden called Swedish death cleaning. And if I'm not saying this right, I apologize. So if anyone out there is from Sweden listening, please feel free to jump in. But essentially, it's like the older you get, the more you throw away, so that by the time you actually get closer to death and die, those who are left don't have to sort through a bunch of your shit. It's real easy. So it's like, you get rid of more stuff each year. And I kind of like that idea. I don't mean pictures and stuff like that, but, useless junk. If you got a box of stuff that you're saving that you're not really going to open, do you really need it? Do you really even remember what you have? That's the interesting part. It's like going through all my shit. I've forgotten how much I had that I didn't need, So why am I keeping it, right? I could just get rid of it. I'm never going to touch it again. Maybe you touch it, you mess with it for 2 seconds and toss it. And then you have, more space, more time to think about other things, more room to add stuff that you care about. And the interesting part of this is the more you get rid of, the more your focus narrows down on what's important the most. Okay? So if you have 10 things that you like, right? Maybe you get rid of 7 of them and you just distill that down to 3 things that you absolutely love. And then you get to spend more time with those things that you love versus the things you like. That's interesting. It's interesting that I'm thinking about this more and more. This can be applied to anything. Like I've seen a lot of people do this with their wardrobe, and I find that to be incredibly liberating. I don't personally have a slimmed down wardrobe. I have quite a decent amount of clothes, more than one should probably have. But I've seen people, slim themselves down, their wardrobe down, that is, to the perspective of having only a few colors, and it makes getting ready for work, getting ready for wherever you're going so much easier, because like you have so little choices to make, right? One of the interesting parts is choice can be good and bad, right? Some people get overburdened by having too many choices, right? So the illusion of choice really is that if you give people too many choices, they're going to have a really tough time making up their mind in what's most important. You have to limit the amount of choices people have in general to allow them to make a better decision. I know it sounds crazy, but that's how it works psychologically. Like they've done some studies, and don't quote me on these, but you can look them up, where if you pose people like a problem, and you give them, let's say, 5 answers, and one of them's right, or one of them's good, maybe not even right, maybe one's like mediocre as a response, there's a higher percentage of people that are going to choose the mediocre answer. Now, if you give people 15 answers, and maybe some of those answers are really good, damn near ideal or perfect, and maybe only a few are mediocre and the rest are bad, you'll find that people actually still don't choose the better answers, and tend to sometimes even choose the bad answers more so than the mediocre ones. And that's the crazy part. So that's really what it is. It's like the illusion of choice kind of prevents you sometimes from making the best option or taking the best option with you. And it's kind of an interesting paradox, right? So the whole idea of, the whole idea of minimalism, right, is that you streamline everything. You make things simple. You distill them down to what they are. And it's like, okay, I have clothes, as to use that as an example. It's like, maybe I don't need 20 t-shirts, right? Maybe I only need a few and a couple basic colors. And it's like, those can then be changed with whatever you have. I think as humans, we have a part of us that likes to collect things. Damn, someone really wants to talk to me. But sometimes we have to fight that, because it's like, you got to take a step back, and you got to see what's most important, and if you start doing that, I've found that kind of bleeds into the rest of your life as well. It bleeds into my work. It bleeds into my workouts even. It bleeds into my friend groups sometimes, It's like anything else, even with friends, like you can have 100 friends, but then how much time do you actually spend with the ones you care about? Probably not much, because it takes time, effort, and energy to keep up with those friends, And people understand that perspective, but they don't want to kind of apply that to the rest of their life in different ways. And I find that kind of interesting. People are quirky. People are interesting. So I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say on minimalism and streamlining stuff. I guess the nostalgia piece is that it was kind of cool going through some of my old stuff, and then also realizing that I had some fond memories of some things, but perhaps the memories were better than the reality of it, and that's the other funny part. Like, you find a couple things and you're like, wow, I remember this to be really, really cool. But then, like, you see it again and you're like, this is not as cool as I thought. So it was almost like the memories themselves were stronger than the items or than the idea of what you had, and it's interesting. Your brain works very funny. You sometimes remember things that may or may not be real, or those memories, you have to consider you were in a different place, right, than where you are now. So picking up things from your childhood as an example, which is what I'm kind of discussing right now, and thinking about how you thought about them then is almost impossible because you're not the same person you were then, right? But you do have those memories still, so it's kind of a contradiction, because you can remember something fondly, but then when you try to think about it now, it may not be as fond as you liked, because you're in a different spot. You're a different person. You almost, in a sense, are not who you used to be. If you wanted to look at it more existentially, you may not even be the same person. That can be, I think that's something one can consider, even from a biological level. All the cells you had when you were that age are likely replaced with new ones. So are you even the same person? I don't know. That's not me. I'm not a biologist. So, or at least a majority of your cells were probably replaced, So it's like one might even consider the idea of themselves, not being at the same level mentally, but also even on a physical level to a certain degree. But yeah, it's crazy. I love to think about things like this. Hopefully we can get another podcast coming up where I can have a conversation with someone and my mic doesn't decide to spaz out. I am still trying to edit the podcast that I have, but my mic was like going crazy on me. I need to find some software where it can like cut out some of the garbledness of it. It was like a technical issue we had, but it turned out really well. But we'll make another one. So everyone, get out there, go vote today if you haven't had a chance to do that yet. I hope your candidate wins, whoever it is. And at the end of the day, remember, the most important thing is whatever you do, it's out of your hands, right? The decision is in the hands of the people. It's up to more than you, right? So if things don't go your way, don't beat yourself up on it, because you did what was the most important thing, and that's what matters the most, right? It's not about winning always. It's about standing up for what you believe in. And if you do that, you can never be wrong. So I'll sign out for this podcast, and I'll see you guys later. Hopefully we get a chance to make some more of these, and love you guys to death. Have a good day.